So there's this guy that comes to my theater all the time.
Mm.
We call him Trucker Hat Guy. And people hide from him because he's crazy.
Mm.
I stayed away from him for a while. I'm trying to have a conversation, but we got to keep playing. So I finally had a conversation with this guy. And, like, everything was pretty normal. Everything he was saying, it was, like, around 4th of July weekend. He said a bunch of cops are out right now. And I was like, yeah, that makes sense. You know, it's the holidays and stuff like that. And then I forget the second thing he talked to me about. But it was the third thing that I was like, oh, I understand why people don't want to talk to you. He was like, yeah, and I've got this spot. I'm going to go home. I've got this spot under my porch on my deck that cats like to get under. And I just can't stand it, so I'm going to board it up. And I was like, oh, okay. He's like, yeah. And I also want to keep out the swamp people.
What? The swamp people?
Everything about the conversation was normal.
I feel like I wouldn't want the swamp people showing up at my door either. But
and then he was just like, yeah, the swamp people, they like to sneak underneath the floorboards and they come into your house and they mess with your pipes.
Oh, so schizophrenic.
And I was like, where did this come from?
Dude! I have the story for this episode! Okay.
Blind judgment?
Evil,
Condemn
obviously.
Evil, yeah, condemn his soul to hellfire.
Die! So Damn, that looked a little sexual. But
I think we're about to get into a power.
So it was a Tuesday afternoon.
Nice.
And,
it's Tuesday evening right now.
It is. And I was alone at the bar the entire day. I had one customer the entire day. He sits down, and he's got a guitar on his back in a bag. Like one of the cheap bags.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, what kind of guitar you have? What do you play? I'll just ask some basic guitar questions because, you know, we're both into guitars.
Having
and
conversation.
obviously, easy. That's an easy, just gimme conversation to have with somebody that just sat down at the bar.
Yeah.
And he's like, I got this a while ago, and I missed my flight, so I'm trying to sell it now because I don't really need it. And I do need money to buy another ticket so I can fly. And I was like, well, what is it? I've got money. And I like to buy guitars in strange situations because the story is most of it.
Yeah.
And so he's like, oh, I'll sell it for like $250. I was like, all right. What kind of guitar is it? And he breaks it out. It's an Epiphone.
Ooh.
It's a Slash celebrity. I don't think we ever made it to this.
No,
part.
I don't know where we are. We just blasted through like a bunch of things.
And so I was like, yeah, I'll buy it from you. And we talked about guitar a little bit. We talked about music, and it was all cool. Totally casual, totally normal. He had a Miller Lite, one Miller Lite.
One Miller Lite.
And he'd been here for like an hour and a half.
He was there to sell his guitar.
He was like a quarter in to this Miller Lite. And then he just hits me with a question.
Oh, you got me there first. I thought you said he actually like hit you.
Oh, that might have been better. He hit me with a question. Have you ever heard of a metaphorical? And I was like the
a metaphor?
Like the English teacher, like an analogy, and it's like no, a metaphorical. It's like, well, a metaphorical is like a phantom.
Oh.
I was like, oh, okay. And he's like, I have a metaphorical of my own that I can manifest.
Oh my God.
And bring up whenever I want to, and I can see through my metaphorical's eyes. Neat,
man.
We're in schizophrenic territory.
Thanks for your guitar.
I just purchased a mentally ill man's guitar that he probably stole from a homeless man.
And now he's gonna take that money to go buy pills.
It
to help
gets
his...
better.
Oh, it gets better.
He stays for 2 hours because he used my money to buy a ticket to Washington, D.C. Because he's already knew what he was going to do. He was going to fly to D.C. and he was going to become the president. And the reason he missed his first flight, no, that had nothing to do with anything else for the rest of it.
Oh.
Because after a while, I tried to lean him off of like the Phantom.
I see.
And he got back into music, and he looks at me real weird. Like, oh, I guess you can't see it on camera. He goes, "Are you Jim Morrison?" Who is the lead singer of The Doors, who is dead.
He's dead.
And I'm like, okay, here we go. No, I'm a bartender, and you are at the airport. No, you're Jim Morrison. I was Jimi Hendrix back in the day.
Oh.
I can be whoever I want to be. I was Michael Jackson. I was Jimmy Morrison once. And I'm like, I I'm in crazy land.
We have fake guns out. Come here. You got a fake gun out. No, you.
It's a Spider-Man game.
That's crazy though. People are crazy.
No, he genuinely had schizophrenia though.
Oh,
Because I had to talk to him. It gets even better.
Oh god.
Because we talked for like 2 hours because I had to keep him like not murdering anyone.
Yeah, for sure.
and I'm just talking to him. He's talking about how he was Jimmy Morrison. How he's gonna be. Should I pick up? I'll pick up the scepter. And how the CIA was like telepathically torturing him to make him afraid of flying.
Oh.
And this is actually a fully fleshed out story. It goes on and it has a great ending. Skipping some of the crazy parts, I kept going back in the back to talk to my manager because I was feeling like I was losing my mind.
Yeah,
I was talking to
had to step away for a minute to refresh.
I'd go back and I would just update her on the craziness that he was telling me. And every time after a point, I would go back and I would talk to her. And I know this is going to sound crazy, but she was like doubting me. She thought I was like playing a prank on her.
Aww.
And I was like, no, I'm very serious.
There's a scary
and
man
she's
outside.
like, what do you mean he's crazy? Like, how are you sure? And I was like, I'm absolutely fucking positive. And she didn't believe me. But then after a certain point, I would go back to like update her on the things he was telling me about. And he started making noises that was audible from from the outside. And the noise was...
Oh no!
Exactly like that. And then he would make like little Mario. And the first time he did it, she looked at me like, "Oh,
oh no!
You're not kidding." It's like, I'm not kidding.
It was what it was a metaphor.
He was on his phone, and no, metaphor. That was like the first 30 seconds of crazy
No, that's what I mean. It was his metaphor.
And after that, it just jumped into every lunatic thing you can imagine.
He was in there. He was using his metaphor.
He told me that
spy on you.
The next day, I would see him on the news becoming the president, and he would display his powers so that no one would worry about it.
I see.
Because he understood that since he wasn't elected, people would be apprehensive to the idea of just some random person becoming the president. So he was going to show that he had the power of the sun to us.
The sun.
To make us more comfortable.
The power of the sun make us more comfortable. People would not be comfortable if Superman was on the planet. So you understand? Like, if Superman was a real person, people would be afraid of Superman.
No, he would be murdered instantly by the government.
Yeah.
Somehow. And but so I did skip a little part of the story at the very beginning.
Yeah.
Where he told me that Slash had owned the guitar that he sold me.
Gotcha.
Now, he only brought that up way later into the thing where it was like the last thing that he said before we actually decided. I was like, I'll take it. He was like, oh, you won't believe this, but Slash actually owned this guitar before me. And I was like, oh, okay, this crazy guy just trying to sell his guitar.
Yeah.
And you don't look cool. I'm going to kill you.
You probably shouldn't have done that.
Oh.
These are people.
We are evil, aren't we?
Okay. Holy shit. Holy shit! Holy!
I don't know what else to do with them.
We've never been this far, and you're just murdering people.
What is this? Can we crush this? Ah, good. Good.
Where do we go?
But
oh, this is like an elevator. What happened?
So
stop killing people!
Wait, why? Bisham! But anyway, I know this has gone on for way too long.
No, you're good.
To finish the story, he was telling me that it was owned by Slash.
Yeah.
So I was like, this guy's a lunatic. Obviously, it was not owned by Slash. But then I was thinking about it, and I was like, Slash he did do like the thing for this. It's like the Slash model.
Yeah.
So that makes kind of sense. I went to Guitar Center not too long ago.
Yeah.
And I saw the exact same guitar with a tag on it that had Slash holding it.
Awesome.
And I was like, oh my god, I understand it. He went to Guitar Center to buy a guitar, and he found the guitar that had Slash holding it. And in his crazy mind, he was like,
Slash had this.
Oh, it's Slash's guitar! I can't believe it's only $300.
That's insanity. People are nuts. Anyway.
Yeah, sorry about taking up the entire episode with
that was a good time.
My schizo story.
We are in the Darkwatch, actually. That's where we are now. The Darkwatch is the Darkwatch is a group that takes care of these things. And that's where we are now.
Yes, the patrol force.
Yeah, and
basically.
they're pissed off at us because they're blaming us for Cassidy dying.
I can't believe we zoomed through that so quickly.
Yeah, just we talked, things happened, we kicked ass.
I'm sorry I took up the entire episode with my lunatic at a bar story.
I love it. I gotta love lunatics. Anyway, next time on Ted's couch.
Next time.
Probably this. I don't know. We'll see.
More of this.
Probably this guy. This guy. There's another guy, maybe.